The National Electrical Code, specifically Article 406.4, addresses receptacle installation. This section outlines the requirements for how receptacles should be oriented, focusing on 406.4a, which pertains to non-locking type receptacles. This section provides guidance on the positioning of the grounding contact. For receptacles installed on a surface or in a flush electrical box, specific rules apply based on the type of receptacle. Firstly, for cord pendant type receptacles, the grounding contact must be at the top. Secondly, for wall-mounted receptacles, the grounding contact must be at the bottom. This means when you are installing a standard wall receptacle, the ground pin opening should be facing downwards. The code differentiates between cord pendant and wall-mounted receptacles because of safety considerations related to how cords and devices interact with the receptacle in each scenario. The ground pin being at the bottom of a wall-mounted receptacle helps to prevent objects from falling onto the exposed energized conductors should a cord become partially unplugged. Having the ground pin at the top for cord pendant receptacles is related to strain and potential disconnection issues. While these requirements provide specific direction, local codes or amendments may have additional requirements. It is always critical to consult the local electrical code requirements as it amends or supplements the National Electrical Code. The National Electrical Code is not law unless adopted by a local jurisdiction. These regulations are put in place to enhance electrical safety and reduce the risk of electrical hazards, such as shocks or short circuits. Correct receptacle installation, including the proper orientation, plays an essential role in achieving these safety goals. Failure to adhere to these code requirements can lead to potential hazards. It is critical for both professional electricians and homeowners undertaking electrical work to understand and follow these guidelines. When inspecting electrical work, it is important to verify that receptacles are installed according to 406.4 ATWA. Any deviations from this rule should be corrected to ensure compliance with the National Electrical Code. A key aspect of electrical safety is proper grounding. The grounding contact on a receptacle provides a path for fault current to flow back to the source, tripping a circuit breaker or fuse and energizing the circuit. This helps prevent electrical shock hazards. When the grounding contact is correctly positioned, it helps to ensure that this grounding path is effective. Using correctly sized conductors and proper wiring methods are also vital. These factors, combined with the correct receptacle orientation, contribute to a safe electrical system. Proper grounding is also essential for protecting sensitive electronic equipment from damage due to voltage surges or static electricity. A correctly grounded receptacle provides a low impedance path for these surges to dissipate, preventing them from damaging connected equipment. In addition to safety considerations, proper receptacle orientation can also improve the functionality and convenience of electrical devices. For example, having the ground pin at the bottom of a wall-mounted receptacle can make it easier to plug in and unplug devices, especially those with bulky power adapters. Similarly, having the ground pin at the top for cord pendant receptacles can help to prevent the cord from putting strain on the receptacle. It is vital to remember that working with electricity can be dangerous. Only qualified individuals should perform electrical work. Always de-energize the circuit before working on any electrical components. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a licensed electrician. A licensed electrician has the training, experience, and equipment necessary to perform electrical work safely and correctly. They can also ensure that all work complies with the National Electrical Code and local electrical codes. When hiring an electrician, check their credentials and references. Make sure they are licensed and insured. A reputable electrician will be happy to provide you with this information. In addition to the receptacle orientation requirements outlined in 406.4 ATWA, the National Electrical Code also contains other requirements for receptacle installation. These include requirements for the type of receptacle to use in different locations, the spacing of receptacles, and the overcurrent protection of receptacle circuits. It is important to be familiar with all of these requirements before installing receptacles. Furthermore, the National Electrical Code is updated every 3 years. It is vital to use the latest edition of the code to ensure that you are following the most up-to-date requirement. The National Electrical Code can be obtained from the National Fire Protection Association (NFPA). The NFPA also offers training and certification programs for electricians and other electrical professionals. Another important aspect of receptacle installation is the use of appropriate wiring methods. The National Electrical Code specifies the types of wiring methods that are permitted in different locations. It is important to use a wiring method that is suitable for the environment in which the receptacle will be installed. For example, in damp or wet locations, such as bathrooms or kitchens, it is necessary to use a wiring method that is resistant to moisture. Similarly, in areas where the wiring may be subject to physical damage, it is important to use a wiring method that is protective from damage. The National Electrical Code also specifies the minimum size of conductors that can be used for receptacle circuits. The size of the conductors must be sufficient to carry the maximum current that the circuit is likely to draw. Using undersized conductors can lead to overheating and fire hazards. The overcurrent protection of receptacle circuits is another critical safety consideration. The National Electrical Code requires that receptacle circuits be protected by circuit breakers or fuses. The size of the circuit breaker or fuse must be appropriate for the size of the conductors in the circuit. Overcurrent protection devices protect the circuit from overloads and short circuits. An overload occurs when the circuit draws more current than it is designed to handle. A short circuit occurs when there is a direct connection between two conductors of different polarity. Both overloads and short circuits can cause the conductors to overheat and potentially start a fire. Ground fault circuit interrupters or GFCIs are another important safety device used in receptacle circuits. GFCIs are designed to protect people from electrical shock hazards. A GFCI monitors the current flowing in the circuit and detects any imbalance between the hot and neutral conductors. If an imbalance is detected, the GFCI quickly trips the circuit, interrupting the flow of electricity. GFCIs are typically required in wet or damp locations such as bathrooms, kitchens, and outdoor areas. They are also required in locations where there is a high risk of electrical shock, such as construction sites. Arc fault circuit interrupters or SIs are another type of safety device that is becoming increasingly common in receptacle circuits. SIs are designed to protect against fires caused by arcing faults. An arcing fault is an unintentional electrical discharge between two conductors. Arcing faults can generate high temperatures that can ignite nearby combustible materials. SIs detect the unique characteristics of arcing faults and trip the circuit, preventing a fire. SIs are typically required in bedroom circuits and other areas where there is a high risk of fire. When installing receptacles, it is important to use the correct type of receptacle for the application. The National Electrical Code specifies different types of receptacles for different purposes. For example, there are receptacles designed for use with specific types of appliances, such as refrigerators or washing machines. There are also receptacles designed for use in hazardous locations, such as areas where flammable materials are present. Using the correct type of receptacle is essential for safety and proper operation. Another important consideration when installing receptacles is the mounting height. The National Electrical Code does not specify a minimum or maximum mounting height for receptacles in general. However, there may be specific requirements for certain types of receptacles or in certain locations. For example, receptacles installed in bathrooms must be located at least 3 feet horizontally from the edge of the sink. It is also important to ensure that receptacles are accessible and easy to use. They should not be located behind furniture or other obstructions. Receptacles should also be installed in a way that prevents cords from being damaged or creating a tripping hazard. When replacing receptacles, it is important to use a receptacle that is compatible with the existing wiring. The National Electrical Code requires that replacement receptacles be of the same type and rating as the original receptacle. This ensures that the receptacle is capable of handling the current load of the circuit. It is also important to ensure that the replacement receptacle is properly grounded. If the existing wiring does not include a grounding conductor, it may be necessary to install a new grounding conductor or use a GFCI protected receptacle. Before working on any electrical wiring, it is essential to de-energize the circuit. This can be done by turning off the circuit breaker or removing the fuse that supplies power to the circuit. It is also important to test the circuit to ensure that it is de-energized before working on it. This can be done using a voltage tester. Always follow safe work practices when working with electricity. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment such as safety glasses and gloves. Avoid working in damp or wet conditions. Do not overload circuits. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to hire a qualified electrician. The National Electrical Code is a complex and comprehensive document. It is important to consult the code for specific requirements related to receptacle installation and other electrical work. The National Electrical Code is available for purchase from the National Fire Protection Association. It is also available for review at many public libraries and building departments. Understanding and following the National Electrical Code is essential for ensuring electrical safety. By following the code, you can help to prevent electrical hazards and protect yourself and others from electrical shock and fire. Keep in mind that electrical codes and regulations can be complex and may vary depending on your location. Always consult with a qualified electrician or local building inspector to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Correct receptacle installation according to the National Electric Code is crucial for electrical safety.